You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
We're live.
I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
It is time for happy hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour. Whiskey, cigar, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
Hey, I'm Matt Fox.
Matt Fox, guess what we are doing?
We are doing our Man Cave Happy Hour for the first time
in our very own man cave, and
we got a first phone call.
We got guests. It's the Kentucky Bourbon Boys. Get that phone.
Yes, sir. Here we go.
Tim, hey, it's Jamie Flanagan and Matt Fox, and thanks for coming and joining us in the Man Cave.
How are you, sir?
Hey, it's good to see you guys, or at least talk to you here. I'm trying to get Skype to work. It's not connecting.
Oh, yeah, it's just going to be audio.
Okay. All right,
so
cool.
yeah, it's just going to be an audio feed for today. We can try to get all fancy with the visuals another time. So, Tim, is it Hagen?
It is.
All right.
And one of our other business partners here is Ethan, and his last name is Pardue. How are you?
Hey. Welcome. Yeah, we're good, man. It's we're excited. We're up here in Michigan, and we do a little show called the Man Cave Happy Hour, and we just got connected. We have a mutual friend.
Yes, we do.
A dear friend of the Man Cave, and a friend of yours as well, and Beth Underwood from Talk Bourbon to me. And
she knows her stuff.
Yeah, and she's
really
like,
does.
she goes, I got some fellas you fellas should be talking to. And so, Tim, Ethan, I'm so glad you were able to hang out with us. And then we were doing a little research, and the Kentucky Bourbon Boys, man, you guys are a party down there.
It's an amazing opportunity for folks to come down here and be taken care of and not have to worry,
right,
and have fun. And almost every trip we hear somebody say something to the effect of, we're coming back and we're bringing some person with us or some group with us.
Wow.
So the Kentucky Bourbon Boys and the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, it's a set of tours that you guys operate. Is that my understanding? So what is the Kentucky Bourbon Boys?
So we help facilitate people's day, whatever they want that to be. Obviously, we specialize in bourbon tours. We'll take them to the distilleries of their choosing, or we'll recommend them for them if they want. But we'll also take people wherever else they want to go while they're here, for whatever a good time means for them.
Which sometimes that's the grocery store because they need some breakfast items for their lodging location, or we stop by a local liquor store and they want to scout out some bourbons maybe they can't find, in the part of the country they're visiting from. So we'll take them wherever they'd like to go.
Wow, that's great. So you guys, the Kentucky Bourbon Trail is it's long, right? So how many regions within Kentucky do the Kentucky Bourbon Boys operate in?
Well, the last we heard, there were 64 distilleries in Kentucky, but I think that number is outdated. And they are spread from Appalachia to Western Kentucky.
My goodness!
So some of that's a little too far for us to travel because we don't want to make an all-day driving tour out of it. So,
right.
We limit it to the Louisville area, and you got to say Louisville if you're going to come down here. You don't say Louisville or anything strange like that. You got to say it like the locals do.
Louisville.
And there are about 9 or 10 distilleries in this vicinity, and we make a day of that, or we'll head to the east into horse country, and that's about an hour away.
Wow.
And then also we might head down to Bardstown to the south region, which is the bourbon capital of the world, by the way, and named America's best small town multiple times. It's really a pretty cool place, and home of the Bourbon Festival.
So you really couldn't do the Old Forester Distillery and then the Four Roses Distillery in the same day because they are really kind of too far apart to do. Do I understand that properly?
we could start at like Old Forester and then go all the way out, but then we're not.
That's
we'll
just a
work
lot.
with people how they want to, because it's close for us. We're starting in the Louisville area anyway.
Sure.
So we can, but there is quite a distance between a lot of them.
Yeah.
And we try to make sure that we're limiting the drive times so that once we get into a vicinity for touring, the hops from one location to another are short, so that they can get to the next place and get on the next tour or the next tasting or lunch or whatever.
Which actually,
Old Forester is a Brown Foreman product, and so getting in there is really tough. So we drink lots of Old Forester, but we don't take many tours there.
So on your website, you guys, you can do up to 3 distilleries in a day. So yeah, that's just because of the region and what they pick. So where would be the ones that you would want folks to go to first when they were first experiencing the Kentucky Bourbon Trail?
We get that question all the time. And what is your favorite distillery? What's your favorite bourbon? And that's really impossible to answer because they are all fantastic in their own way. And, all the big names like, Woodford and Buffalo Trace, Makers, Jim Beam, Heaven Hill, all those big name places, Wild Turkey, they're all great. And it really, people call us and say, where should we go? Or they call and say, we got to go to Makers and Beam. So that, that's an easy one to sort out.
Sure.
But a lot of times people say, I like this whiskey, but I don't really know where I want to go, and I want unique experiences. And then we start talking about the many other options out there.
It's fantastic. So the Kentucky Bourbon Boys, that really started with a Hagen family outing in 2011. Do I understand that right?
Yes.
And
it was shortly after I turned 21. We all most of the men in the family got together and made a big trip. And we had my cousin Tim's daughter Laura drive us around, and we did the Bourbon Trail in 2 days, because at the time the Bourbon Trail was only 6 distilleries.
Right.
That
was in 2011, right?
2011.
And you said there were over 64.
We poured Coke in our bourbon then. We couldn't even talk about it. And, there were 9 guys in the van, and she drove, and we can't tell you everything that happened that day because we might have to shut our business down. But we had a lot of fun. And so after you got your 6 stamps, then you mail in your passport and you get a free T-shirt from the Bourbon Trail. So, of course, we had to do that, right?
Of course.
So we get our T-shirt, and people start hearing us talking about it and asking us, hey, why don't you plan another one and we can go? So that grew into, I knew somebody with a school bus, and we took 30-something people on a school bus and went down and did several distilleries one day, and that was a lot of fun, and it was very unique, to say the least. So we grew from there with the social group, and we have an outing this Friday, actually, to go to a new location. It's got a lot of restaurants in it. It's going to be fun, and we wear our shirts and we make a scene.
Of course.
And we don't know how many people show up. There are about 120 people in the social group, and any combination of that crew might appear at one of our events. So you jump from 2011 to 2015.
I was going to say 14. We started talking about it. 15, we put it into motion.
Yeah, so we put it into motion in 15, and then our first tour was in 16, oddly enough, and it was with Australians. And we were on a Google search on page 7 back then.
Wow.
So I don't know today how they found us, but they did, and that was our first official tour as a business, and we did 22 tours that year.
Crikey.
And we thought we were great. And that was in 16. And we've had exponential growth since then. And it's 200% growth every year. And
My goodness.
We can hardly keep up with the requests now. So
Are you guys hiring?
It turned into, it's been really busy. And it's a lot of fun because we're meeting really neat people from all over the country and all over the world.
That's great.
So, all right. So, Tim, Ethan, we want to turn to you from time to time and kind of find out what's going on, because we're a little lost in the fog up here in Michigan. We don't get all the news from the Bourbon Trail, so we want to be able to check in with you guys from time to time and find out what's going on. Because today in Michigan, in the next 24 hours, we're about to get about 8 inches of snow, which means spring is in the air.
Right.
And but looking ahead to the spring, and as the spring season kicks in, and I'm sure when that's when your tours kick in a little bit more. What's new coming up that do you know about coming up for the spring for the Kentucky Bourbon Trail?
There's a lot.
Because I know there's a couple new tasting rooms that have opened up, and more distilleries are expanding their tasting rooms. So just one or two things that you're like, when we do tours this spring, this is what we got to show people.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to figure out where to start. Heaven Hill, Bullet. Heaven Hill is opening. They're under construction through 2020, but they've opened up 2 new tasting rooms. They're just beautiful. And it's going to be really nice when they finish, with a deck, tasting bar up on the roof of the place, and a restaurant. And we're seeing lots of restaurants are coming in now and being added, and hotels are in the works. So the distilleries, when our Californians visit, they say, this looks just like wine country did when it took off. And that's pretty exciting to see, because we hear people say, what's going to happen? Is it going to bust and then this all falls apart on you? And it's like, no way. This is just getting started.
Yeah, it's here to stay.
Sure.
That's awesome.
So that is one, Heaven Hill. But Barton's makes 1792, and they are Sazerac company, and they are planning to build a new event space. So a lot of them are putting in event spaces. Buffalo Trace has done a $1.2 billion renovation over the past year, and that finishes up here in the spring. And so 1.2 billion, that's just mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah.
Because in 2017, that's how much was spent in the state among all the distilleries. And now Buffalo Trace is finishing that amount of upgrade and renovation all on their own. So that everybody is adding on, building new visitor centers, building food venues. They're adding decks for live music. So the whole thing just is expanding.
Wow. Faster
than we can keep up with. Just downtown here in Louisville, 2 new places have opened up where you can go order anything. And one is Justin's House of Bourbon. And the other one, it opened up today. It's called Doc's Bourbon Room, and it's on Whiskey Row down on Main Street. So there's just more and more things being added. Bourbon-themed hotel that just opened here in Louisville called Distill. So you name it, it's hopping.
That sounds like so much fun, man.
Partners this year, his name is Chuck, and he just came in.
Hi, Chuck.
This is Jamie and Matt.
Hey, Jamie. Hey, Matt. Good evening.
Hey, how are you, Chuck? Thanks for joining us.
So, Chuck, we were just putting Tim and Ethan on the spot and telling them, having them tell us coming up this spring, out of the innovations happening on the Bourbon Trail, what's one thing you're really looking forward to and looking forward to sharing with people on the Bourbon Trail this coming year?
Boy, one thing is. That's really
I love that it's that hard.
Yeah,
I'm so excited that it's that hard to talk about.
There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Yeah, I think for me, what I love that's happening, like one is, Tim was talking a little bit about this, but is the growth of the industry has caused upgrades across every single distillery that you can go back even within 3 to 6 months time and you will see something different. Even if you went on the same tour. I've been to the same distillery multiple times over the last several years, and they keep getting better and they keep changing. The other kind of innovative thing would be all of the distilleries that have opened up that are maybe, small batch distilleries. We love giving a variety to our customers. So we'll take them to one of the big players, right? We'll take them to Heaven Hill. We'll take them to Jim Beam. We'll take them to Maker's Mark, Buffalo Trace. They love it. But then we also love taking them to some of those small distilleries in the same tour so that they can just see the difference in scale and intimacy, get to talk to some of the master distillers. We love taking our customers to Three Boys. It's that part of it feels innovative to me as well. It's just all these distilleries that are popping up of various sizes.
Well, to go from six distilleries in 2011 to over 64 plus now, just 5 years later, 10 years later. Oh my gosh! It's going to keep on growing. It's going to keep on evolving. So, over the next number of years, where does Kentucky Bourbon Boys see itself in the next 5 to 10 years as well? As you evolve with the industry.
Well, we're a family business, right? Mm-hmm. So part of this has been learning how to do this thing. Mm-hmm. And then the next problem was how to deal with growth, and then how to deal with exponential growth. And in our first year, we had to rent vans.
Wow.
Because we didn't have any money, we didn't have any equipment, and now we keep buying vans, and we've hired our first employee. So instead of us all tag teaming everything, now we have someone who is working for us to book tours and streamline for us and deal with the technology and the communication and improve our product, and then also increase sales.
That's fantastic.
And she's already knocking that out of the park. She happens to be one of my other daughters, too, by the way.
Oh, okay. Keeping it in the family. That's good.
Keep it in the family, absolutely.
And Chuck's wife. So now Chuck's getting some extra work because he's helping her with some things.
That's right. Yeah, I think that the one thing I would add to that is, you mentioned it, extreme growth in the industry. We see ourselves in the same way. We have grown at an equal pace over the years. And there's a lot of cool things that we're going to be doing in 2020. I don't know, Tim, if you already talked about this, but, we're really interested in getting a more public tour option with a partnership we have with Distill and the Marriott chain downtown on Main Street in downtown Louisville. So that's another, market that we're getting into. A lot of folks, a lot of, potential customers, people coming into Louisville. Maybe they're working at a conference. They have a Saturday. How do we get that public tour option? So that could be another what we're looking at, especially with so many distilleries in downtown Louisville now. Custom private experiences.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
So if you would come down, we could shoot clay pigeons with you, and then take you over to a barbecue place, and then take you to a distillery tour and drink bullet whiskey.
And cigar shops.
Oh my goodness gracious! You're like singing my song down there, fellas.
Yeah, custom tours. How do we get that experience that you'll not get anywhere else except with the Kentucky Bourbon?
Yeah, like I said earlier, we want to facilitate your day, your weekend, whatever fun means to you while you're here. We want to make that happen for you. So if that means 3 distilleries for you, cool. If that means 1 distillery, a cigar shop to go smoke for a bit and then go shoot clays or whatever, or maybe you want a fancy dinner after everything, we'll do what you want and work with you to make it your day.
That's great. That's absolutely fantastic. So if someone wanted to book a tour, what is one of some of the easiest ways for them to reach out and really kind of understand how they can make that experience a reality?
Well, first of all, we've been really blessed that things have gone great, and people have been so happy that if you look at TripAdvisor reviews, you really get a good idea of what their experiences are like and what they say about us. And that I tell people, hey, and people shop, and they should shop. And we tell them, just take a look and see what people say, and then you'll see that we're gonna make sure we take care of you and we treat you like family. And that's part of our business model, is that we're not going to worry about the bottom line as much as the experience, and that people leave here and they've had a great experience. And when we see people in the van have their phone out looking at Zillow and looking at properties and saying, we could move here and look what we could get for our money. Yeah. It's a cheaper cost of living than it is in Michigan, I'll tell you that, right? So we see that a lot.
No
That's
snow.
what we want, is that people have a great experience. And Ethan, tell them about Three Boys. You mentioned Three Boys a minute ago, and we'll take people to a lot of big name distilleries, but they'll come out of Three Boys Farm Distillery and say that's the most fun thing we did today.
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, so we have a good relationship. Have you all ever heard of Three Boys Farm?
No.
I figured not. A lot of people haven't when they come here, but it is a hidden gem in bourbon country. A lot of times people will show up and they'll, what's your favorite bourbon, Ethan? Or like, what's a spot that we're not going to hear about, or what's a unique experience? And so I immediately know where I'm taking them. I take them to Three Boys Farm and have them go meet Ross, the owner there. And it's a completely different spot than anything else you're going to see on the Bourbon Trail or anywhere else in bourbon country. But it's a good time. It's much more relaxed. It's a good spot. You go in, do some tastings right out of barrels. It's a good time. And Ross welcomes people to come smoke cigars. Like in his barn, he loves that. He wants you to just come have a good time and feel like you're just hanging out with a friend rather than the more like commercial experience, structured experience.
Wow.
Yeah. I think so. To find out and build that day with us, the best place to go is our website, KentuckyBourbonBoys.com. You get right on the website. It's super easy from that point to plan your tour. The phone number is right on the website as well. So you can either book directly online or you can call the number or submit an inquiry and somebody will get back with you immediately. So it'll either be my wife or Tim directly.
Yeah. Wow.
That's awesome. I really look forward to it. It's been on my list here for a couple of years to get down and do the bourbon tour, and it's just one thing or another. Summers have slipped away, and we haven't been able to do it. But
yeah, they have.
I think
It's not a long drive down here for you guys.
No, it's not.
People Michigan all the time, man.
It's not. I mean, it's as close to get to you as it is to get to our Upper Peninsula that we go to all the time to go camping. So it isn't that challenging of a drive. We just gotta do it. And So
and we can help you with hotels, and we give people some advice on Airbnbs or hotels or VRBOs or whatever. But then we also talk about where should you go eat dinner, and if you come in as tourists, you might see the typical places, but we've also got a lot of suggestions. Louisville's really become a food town, and there are a ton of great restaurants here. And I tell people, even the Italian restaurants have a ton of bourbon. So everybody has bourbon. You don't have to look for it here. Everybody has it. And you just walk down Whiskey Row on Main Street and throw a rock, you hit 5 places that you could go to.
Yeah.
So we help people we get a lot of calls from people that are celebrating special events in their life, we get bachelor parties and some bachelorette parties, but it's amazing how many 40th birthday celebrations, and they bring 30 people.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't know 30 people that go anywhere with me to celebrate my birthday. This past year, I drove an 80th birthday with 10 people.
Wow.
I love
we
that.
We get a lot of that. People retired, and it's their retirement trip or it's their bucket list to come to Kentucky. And we didn't used to always hear that kind of thing. So we're getting a lot of that international now, too. We've got groups coming from the UK Bourbon Society and the Sweden, the Nordic Bourbon Society from Sweden, and a lot of bourbon clubs, Australia. I mean, they're coming from all over the place and setting up tours for a week.
Wow.
And they want to hit all kinds of things. And so, by the end of that week, they've hit at least 15 to 20 distilleries.
My goodness. Stay hydrated
Of
after a week of.
Well, there's usually some napping goes on the way back every end of the day. It's pretty quiet in the van on the way back to Louisville.
Every time. You can see the heads bobbing behind you in the rearview mirror every time.
That's great. I love it.
All right, so I was emailing with Tim earlier.
We would love it.
Yeah. I was emailing with Tim earlier, so we'll wind up with Tim. But Ethan, Chuck, I want to ask you guys a question. For a daily drinker, right? Because it's like, what's your favorite bourbon or what's the best? I mean, it's so hard to answer that. But on the shelf, the daily drinker, something you go to that it's tried and true for you. What's a good daily drinker for you as far as a nice Kentucky bourbon goes?
People tell me I'm a crazy drinker because I like something that kicks me in the teeth. I like barrel proofs. I like really high proof. I like real spicy. I like Bulleit's barrel proof or barrel strength.
You got the heat. Yes.
That's one of my go-tos.
All right.
I think for me, the three that popped into my head are one, Michter's, just the Michter's bourbon.
That's a great one.
I really like Russell's Reserve 10-year.
Okay.
And then, of course, like if I'm going weeded, Weller's Special Reserve is just an easy, great tasting bourbon all the time.
That is nice.
Those are three that are sitting up on my kitchen counter that I'll go to daily drink.
The Weller's is in Michigan a more limited release. It's hard to get your mitts on that one all the time up here in Michigan. They come in and then they go quickly. So I was lucky to have a bottle of it last year. And it went. So, Tim, I had emailed you earlier and asked you, and you said that you like Old Forester's, the 1019.
Yeah, actually, it's 1910.
No, it's a dyslexia boy here. Yeah.
You're an English teacher. It's okay, buddy.
Oh, you're an English teacher? Well, I used to be a principal, so I'm going to have to talk to you about that. So, 1910 came out a year ago, and immediately flew off the shelves, and then you couldn't find it anywhere. And I picked it up just to try it, and it was phenomenal. And the story is that in 1910, Brown-Forman, they had a fire, and they had some whiskey that was sitting in a vat that they were going to bottle, and they couldn't because of the fire, so they put it in some used barrels that were sitting, and they had the barrels had been torched. I mean, they were were charred to a cinder.
Huh.
And then they left them in there for I don't know how long. And then when they got it out, it was fantastic. So that was in 1910. And so Brown-Forman brought that back last year and recreated it. And they left the fire part out, but they took some whiskey that was ready to bottle, and then they re-barreled it again in a second barrel, and then let it sit. And it brings out a lot of caramel flavors and vanilla, and just really phenomenal, smooth drink. And anytime I talk somebody into trying it, they fall in love with it.
Yeah, Matt and I like to do a thing called Just a Taste, and we'll pull a bottle off a shelf or in a bar, call up a pour, something we haven't had before, and that's kind of why I asked you that to see what you said. And we haven't tried Old Forester's before. I didn't come across a 1910. I stopped at a couple party stores on my way down here. I made a couple of pit stops, and but I did grab the Old Forester, the 100 proof. So how much knowledge do you guys have of each of these distilleries, or do you leave it up to the hosts there to kind of share the stories, or how much do you know? And is there something you can tell us about Old Forester and Brown-Forman folks?
Well, Brown-Forman is like an icon here in Louisville. Been around forever. Really supportive of the arts and the community. Sponsor the Center for the Arts programming, and lots of goodwill for the community. And there are numerous facilities here that have the Brown-Forman name on them, or the Old Forester name. And so a lot of jobs here too. And but when we tour somewhere, we get a lot of questions on the way. And we try not to steal all their thunder. So we tell some stories, but when we get there, we know their staff is going to take the group, and then they're going to tell their specific story they want them to know.
Got it. My goodness.
So, so we have we poured the Old Forester. I don't know if you guys have glasses around you, but we kind of wanted to toast you and share a dram here. Just kind of saying thanks for joining us, and I'd love to have you guys on more. We want to maybe have you just kind of walk us through a couple of the tour stops. I mean, in future calls, and just kind of. What a day in the life of one of your tours. Hit a couple of stops virtually with you as people are starting to think about making that trip down. As I get off my backside and make a trip down there.
Right.
Well, listen, you all come down. We'll take care of you, and we'll make sure you get to see some of the places that you have to see. But like I said, they're all great, and you could just pick any of them and have a good experience. And that's the thing. We haven't had a bad experience anywhere. The industry is really good, working with each other.
Mm-hmm.
The good people, they support one another. They support us.
Mm-hmm.
We try to support them as much as we can, and it's all good for Kentucky. Raising a lot of tax dollars. Tourism is like the number 3 industry here now.
Right.
So it's pretty crazy, but. We could talk you through like a typical one of our tour itineraries and walk through like one of them that we've done, and probably be able to tell you some funny stories about things that have happened.
Oh yeah.
Nobody's gotten hurt or anything, but there have been some pretty hilarious things that have happened, and we laugh right with the groups. I'll have tears going down my face going down the road because it's cracking me up.
I love it. So, Ethan, Chuck, Tim, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Like I said, I'll get a hold of you, and we will definitely plan to do a couple virtual stops with you, because I want to get some more of these stories, and you guys are there. And then if there's any breaking news, like, hey, if this is this is happening, that's happening, that's new, this still is leaking. Oh my gosh, last year was a rough year. I mean, between rick houses falling down and vats cracking, it was a disastrous year. It seems like.
Barton said they're run of bad luck, but they've got it together, and they are just the nicest people there, and they had a rough go. But I remember when the rick house fell, a lady that works in the office there told me that the guy called him and said, "Hey, we found one of your barrels floating in the creek in front of our house." And she said, "You did not find one of our barrels floating in the creek." So people were trying to game the system and make some money off of it, but they didn't get away with that one. They're great people too. That's the nice thing about it, is it's just so much fun, seeing all these people and telling all these stories and hearing their stories.
Well, thank you. As friends of the Man Cave Happy Hour, we look forward to future conversations and hearing what's going on down there on the Bourbon Trail with you guys, with Kentucky Bourbon Boys. So the website is just KentuckyBourbonBoys.com, and all the information is on there. And guys, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
All righty. Thanks for working with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Pleasure. Total pleasure.
All right, fellas. Be well.
All right. Take care. You too.
So, Jamie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. So they hang up.
Yep. Good. All right. Yeah. Wow. They were so much fun.
Yeah.
All right. I'm coming back out there.
I'm super excited I'm dying to go down and visit with them, and then just do one of the tours. I like that. I spent it a couple of days. It's hey, all right. So I'm gonna give my liver a little break. So we'll do three distilleries. Three distilleries, and then have a day, and like maybe go picnicking or something.
Picnicking?
Okay, boo-boo. Shooting some clay pigeons, and then the next day do another 3. I think that may be fun. Just kind of do 3, take a break, 3.
They were saying on their website, it says on Sundays that they can only get in 2 because the distilleries actually close a little bit earlier on Sundays.
Right.
So you could do 3 on a Friday, take that Saturday just to get around the town, and then Sunday do 2, and then you drive home.
Yeah.
Then or fly home or Uber home. They're like super Uber.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because they drive you around to all these distilleries. That's super Uber.
That is like super duper Uber. But we got this Old Forester's 100 in front of us.
That's spicy meatball, man.
So we sniffed it, and he mentioned the Old Forester, the 1910 dyslexia boy. So the 1910. I've seen it. I know there's a parts store that has it, but I was already en route, and I'm like, son of a gun. Yeah. And I was already running late in traffic this time of day. But anyway,
all good.
Blah blah blah. So I'm like, I'll stop over at a couple of the ones in close to Northville, close to the studios, and they didn't have the 1910. There's a 1920. There's a 1910. They do. Old Forester's does a birthday bourbon every year, so they do some special bourbons around their birthday, limited runs, and nobody gave a rat's ass about them for years. And they would always do them.
Yeah.
And then, the boom started booming a handful of years ago. Well, even more. Now it's a little more than a handful of years ago. And now, when they release one of their birthday bourbons,
it's gone.
Forget about it.
Yeah,
You're paying throughout the yin yang for that, out the yin yang twins for that one for sure. It's crazy. But can you pull up some info on the Forester 100 proof? Because he was mentioning the 1910. It was like harkening back to a barrel that was in the fire and a double double charred. He didn't say that, but it was really really toasty and charred. And this is look at it. It's
dark.
It's dark.
Yeah,
but it doesn't look murky.
It's not. It's dark because it's going to be robust.
Yeah,
it's going to have that robust feel to it. That's where the darkness comes.
There was an 86. There was the Old Forester 86.
Yeah,
and then the Old Forester 100 proof. I went with 100.
Yeah, and you're rightfully so, because if this is the only thing that you're going to do tonight, go a little bit spicier.
Yeah,
right. So when I nosed it the first time, did you just smell your microphone again?
I did.
Okay, fair. So the first time, I don't know why you do that, but I always talk about I'll get caramel. No, it's butterscotch on this one.
Okay,
I get a lot of butterscotch on that nose. So, and that's something on the aroma piece. It's going to be strong, a stronger nose, because it is darker. But then that taste, I got a lot of fruit, a sweeter fruit than anything else.
Right.
Personally, what did you when you?
I just had a sip and I was like concentrating on talking. So
fair enough. No, I get a lot of nice sweet fruit when I tasted it. It was actually very subtle but very sweet at the same time. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm getting. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely. I'm not, hitting your molars sweet, but there's sweet notes. Mm-hmm. And as it sits the after, it's
that oaky.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's not, but it's fruit. It's not apple. It's something apple adjacent.
Is it more of like a riper apple, or is it just is there something different than apple, like a pear maybe?
Yeah, I don't eat pears. See, and that's the thing about tasting and smelling.
Yeah,
you have to have a wide palette of experiences to. Mm-hmm. Well, that does taste like bottom saddle, second shelf shavings of saber-tooth lamb. I don't know.
It's actually very good. If you were to, well, you married this one, but if you were to just to go out and try something and you'd never had the Old Forester, you would be pleasantly surprised, I think, as to how good it actually is. Because and that's when something that we talk about. You got to try something you never had before.
Right.
You have your mainstays. You have your favorites. But if you just want to, take a step outside yourself, try something new.
It's approachable on the price.
Price-wise, I'm looking for that right
now. It was $25 on the shelf.
Really, for that?
Yeah.
That's very reasonable.
Yeah. So that's not so bad. Yeah, the other ones you're getting up over 30, in the 30, not quite over 40 yet, depending on the bottle. And again, they have specials and things that come out.
Right.
But this one, the 51% needs to be corn to be a bourbon. This is at 72% corn, 18% rye.
Ooh, that's a nice mash bill.
I think that's and then 10% malted
That's
barley.
That's where that spice is coming from. Is on that, right?
Yeah, you like you said earlier you didn't know I had a bottle in my bag.
I had no idea.
And you pulled out a Werner's, which for people outside of Michigan is our ginger ale. It actually is the first soda pop ever. So Werner's is the original.
I did not know
soda
that.
pop. Yeah, that's yes. Werner's is the original. It's the original ginger soda, and it is the original soda pop.
Really?
It is. But Werner's is our ginger ale here in Michigan.
Yeah,
it's available around, but it's a decidedly Michigan treat. It's a little different, and it's aged in oak barrels itself.
Is it really?
It's It's.
I should read more about these guys.
Werner's is a oak tradition in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this is nice. This is.
It's like, hey, you know what sounds?
Oh,
good?
you were. That's what I was. You were saying, oh, I would nice a rye to mix with this Werner's would be great. And
a
I'm
ginger
thinking,
rye, man.
And I'm thinking, to myself, well, little do you know,
I had no clue.
Be pulling a little something out of the bag here shortly.
So I have a new bucket list item that I have to do now.
Head out and hang out with the Kentucky Bourbon Boys.
Yeah, it's not. It was already
It's the good old Kentucky Bourbon Boys blues band. What kind of music y'all play here?
All of it.
Country and Western. Head 'em up. Head 'em out. Kick 'em in. So it's just their name. It's just every time I hear their name, the Kentucky Bourbon Boys, I just think it's the Blues Brothers and the good old. We're the good old Blues Brothers Boys band, Kentucky style.
I'm pretty certain there is a Kentucky Bourbon Boys musical group out there, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty certain that there is.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
So move them out.
Head 'em up. Rawhide. Stand by your man.
Thank you to Beth Underwood for
connecting us.
Yeah, for introducing us to these guys and connecting us. And there's so much to learn, and we still have so much to do with the man cave, and just broadening our horizons and our palates. And as we continue to do this, it's just going to get that much better.
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, we left Old Forester, right? I digressed on the Werners, and then we were trying to get back to the Kentucky Bourbon Boys, but. Before we leave the Old Forester, Kill, Marry, Screw, right? Are you gonna buy it? You gonna take it home, or are you just gonna? Is it dead to you?
I would actually marry this and have it up on the shelf.
Marry it, bring it home. Yep. I would too. It is going to be here on the bar cart here at the Podcast Detroit Northville studio. So if you ever come by to visit us here at the Podcast Detroit Northville studio, you are most welcome until this bad boy is empty.
Yep.
And at $25. Probably replace them.
Right. But if you do, sip responsibly.
That's it. Yes. So, Podcast Detroit. We're here because as they chimed in, we got a little rolling a little late, but and they chimed in straight away because I wanted to say that we're here doing our first Man Cave happy hour in our podcast Man Cave. Yeah, that's actually Podcast Detroit. This is becoming our podcast Man Cave.
Oh my gosh. Things have really evolved over the past 2 years.
Yeah,
when we started this. So
heck yeah,
in our own studios in Podcast Detroit, Northville, and they're swanky.
Every time I show somebody a picture, they're like, it's pretty awesome, and then they come in and they're like, oh my gosh.
So just to toot our own horns for a second.
Yeah.
If you ever want to experience what podcasting is like, you want to be able to walk in and talk about your passion, talk about what's on your mind, but you don't want to have to put a lot of work into it on the backside. Yeah. So it's like an easy button, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's what
we're here for.
That's what we're here for. Yeah.
So just podcastdetroit.com, mancavehappyhour.com for stuff on us, and then podcastdetroit.com. Because there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 studios across the Metro Detroit area where you can record your podcast and podcast your voice, and just share your ideas.
Have fun.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. Mm-hmm. That's how this all started.
Yeah.
Hey, I got an idea to have some more fun. What do you think?
Yeah. So, but fun to me, circling back to what we said we'd circle back to, the Kentucky Bourbon Boys. So thankful, Beth Underwood from Talk Bourbon to Me, talkbourbontomeme.com, connected us. She's busy. She's a mom.
Yes.
And she's got a senior in high school.
Oh.
And she's like, dude, she goes, I love hanging out with you on the show. She goes, but I got a boy in high school, and we're doing something every freaking night this year. And it's like, because I teach high school, and I teach English 12, and so I see all these seniors, and they're just like, I'm like, why don't you do your damn papers? Well, because I had a game, and I had practice, and then I had to do this, and then and I'm like, I don't give a crap. Where's your paper?
Having 3 girls grown up out of high school. Yeah, all 3 of them were very active.
So yeah. So Beth has been super busy, and she goes, while I'm busy being mom of a senior in high school, you guys hang out with the Kentucky Bourbon Boys. They'll take care of you. And so far, so good. I like these guys. I want to party with that dude.
We're novices. We are self-proclaimed novices, and we like to learn and like to learn with other people. So they were talking about the 3 Boys farm.
Yeah,
right. I just pulled them up. I got some homework to do on them as well.
Okay.
Well,
that's the thing, because we have in Michigan, because of Man Cave Happy Hour coming to you from the Podcast Detroit studios here in fabulous Northville, Michigan.
Say it again.
But in Michigan we have a little wine country going on,
mm-hmm.
and there's a pretty cool wine tours that happen. It's actually across the state, but it's really the cluster and the main part, and the really great part.
What's the parallel?
Is I don't know, 48. I want to say
parallel, something like that.
48. I think because we're down around 46 here, so I think it's 40, 47, 46, 48. But it's wine country here in Michigan, up in the Leelanau and Mission Peninsula by Traverse City, Michigan. If you hold your hand up, you got your if you look at the palm of your right hand,
left hand. Is it right hand or left hand? It's left hand.
You look at the palm of your. Look at the palm of your right hand.
Okay,
that's Michigan.
Okay, fair. I'm not from Michigan. I've been here a long time, though.
Shut up. So if you're looking at, I'm cutting you off.
I've had
you've had a 2. Yeah, what's the problem? You're just busting my job. So if you're looking at the palm of your right hand, it's not hairy. No. So if you're looking at the palm, that's pretty much a map of Michigan. So where your pinky and your ring finger meet there, that's kind of the Traverse City Bay area in the Leelanau Peninsula. The tip of your pinky.
Got it.
And where the pinky and the ring finger connect. That's kind of where the Leelanau Peninsula. It's just so people give people a visual. But we got a really cool. It's a really cool wine country, and there's distilleries popping up there.
Really?
There are on the West Coast. There's several. There was Copper Craft.
Right.
We talked to them. One of our first man caves.
Yeah, that was during
we got a bottle. The bottle they gave us that night, I still haven't cracked.
Really?
Still sitting on my shelf. Yeah. And then there's
Holland.
yep. And then there's the beer barrel beer bourbon. There's several popping up on the west side of the state, but so the wine country tours in Michigan, it's great, But the cool thing about the ones in Michigan with the wine stuff, they're clustered really closely together. There's a crap ton of them. If you go up and down those 2 peninsulas, you're hitting.
So
you can't hit them all the way I hit them.
Staggering from one to the other.
Good Lord, man! Just call up. Colleen was like, we were up there and we were camping, and we camped probably about 40 minutes away from there, 40 minutes an hour away, 40 minutes outside of Traverse City. And so we drive in from the campsite and then do we had our bikes with us, and she's like, oh, we should bike up and down, but there's no sidewalks, and it's like a little 2-lane road. And I'm like, there ain't no way I'm driving my bike on this 2-lane road with all these drunks pulling in and out of these distilleries.
Yeah, I've seen Pet Cemetery. Yeah,
people are not
happening.
Are not as bright as they should be. I'm wrap some metal around me before I'm jumping on the road with these nutbags. I mean, if there was a bike trail, yeah, maybe, but there's not. And be responsible, but not everybody is.
Right,
so it gets a little treacherous out there. I wouldn't want to be on a bike just on a on the edge of a 2-lane road, or even not even drinkers, but texters too. People distracted driving. It's dangerous. I'm like, honey, let's leave the bikes aside. So
that was a good decision.
Yeah. So I so thoroughly enjoy running up and down the Michigan wine country. I'm just itching to go hang out with the Kentucky Bourbon Boys and have them take us up and down the bunny trail, known as the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. So
now Mary was actually looking at this last year
Yeah.
for us to do a tour of the Kentucky trail.
Yeah.
But instead, I made a stupid decision to go the other way into the Virginia area instead of going through Kentucky because it would have taken a day, an extra day or what have you. And I made a poor decision. So now this just makes it that much easier so we can actually go and have folks to show us around.
And we'll have some friends down there. So I'm
Right.
extraordinarily looking forward to that. So again, Tim, Ethan, Chuck, thank you for being with us earlier. And Beth, thank you for connecting us. And thank you for listening. We appreciate you being with us. ManCaveHappyHour.com.
Yeah.
PodcastDetroit.com.
Find us on the Instagram, on the Twitter. It's all out there. Say hi. Make a comment. Go in. What you want to do, go in and just like and just say hi.
That's all you gotta
And then
do.
we'll stalk you vigorously afterwards.
That's it.
So-
That's it.
But, we want to know what your comments are, what you think, because this is a craft. We're trying to get better at it. Let us know. And we'd love feedback.
Yeah. Timely. We don't like to be timely, but coming up on February 13th, there's Puppy Love. It's Puppy Love.
We're at the
It's,
Detroit Shipping Company.
Detroit Shipping Company,
Yeah.
where the downtown Detroit Podcast Detroit studio is.
Correct.
For a special Puppy Love drinking with dogs. So we'll be out, and we do it all. We do it all the time. So follow us on the Twitter, Man Cave Happy Hour. HR, Man Cave Happy Hour on the Twitter and Facebook, because our events are out there, and because we have that one, and then coming up after that, we're at the Stray Cat
Lounge, yeah.
Stray Cat Lounge. We got that coming up beginning of March, and
Is Stray Cat Lounge, they were our second
I think that was
episode, and we are going to revisit with them and say hi and catch up with them a little bit.
Yep.
So
and lots more on the horizon. Oh
Yeah.
my God, Astronomicon.
Oh,
is
yeah.
this weekend. Ming Chen from Comic Book Guys, is going to be in town.
Oh boy,
and
my calendar's clear.
I don't know. I was hanging out with the Podcast Detroit guys, Bob and Dave.
Yeah.
And then you throw Ming Chen into the mix. It's going to be nuts.
Yes.
Him and Mike. Mike isn't coming to town. I'm really bummed that Mike isn't going to be here. But Ming's going to be here. It'll be goofy. And then a few of the other guys from Clerks. One of the guys, and this is his first con. He's never done a con before. I forget which one of the dudes.
I know that feeling because I actually I went to my first con last year.
Yeah.
No, I know that feeling. You walk in there, you have some expectations, but you really don't.
Right.
But then you walk in, there's just so much to see, so many people to a lot of great people watching it.
Yeah,
But yeah, he should have a good time in Astronomicon.
Yeah. Well, we just got our press credentials for the Great Lakes.
Really?
Comic-Con. Yeah, Matt. Hey, Matt, we got our credentials for
Hey, cool. When's that? Let me clear my calendar.
March. That's the beginning of March.
All right, as long as it's not the 14th.
Great Lakes. Yeah, so the Great Lakes Comic-Con, which is at Macomb. So we'll be there, and we'll be doing live man caves. So it's just So lots. So follow us on the socials, and then we'll have reports from each of those places.
Yeah.
Well, it's loosely reports. It's more like we're drinking at those places. We're gonna go out drinking.
When you say loosely, it's gonna get real loose.
We're gonna go. Oh, but freaking Ming Chen and Dave and Bob and Trouble in Detroit.
Yeah.
Cue the David Bowie. Panic in Detroit.
I thought you were gonna go Smiths. I thought you were gonna go hang the DJ because that just happens too. So.
So yeah. That's what's on the horizon for us. I don't know.
Yeah, Jamie, you did something.
We got to end it, but I don't.
Okay.
I just can't. No, you go ahead.
I
just want to keep going.
No, you did something in the month of January.
What? Oh yeah, I did.
You did a little bit of
Dry January.
Dry January.
I cheated on January 18th because I got invited to DJ at Smalls.
Fair.
So I was like, you know what? I could have probably said, I'm not going to drink, but you get. When you DJ and it's like people come up, hey, and they're buying you drinks, and then the bar, comps you a tab, and you just walk by the bar. I knew I'd walk up to the bar, and because when I'm DJing, and then Mike, the owner of Smalls, before I get to the bar, he's sliding a Guinness across the bar at me, and I'm like, And I didn't want to I'm not drinking. Because I actually
January.
because I was there the weekend before and I was just there dancing. I just drank water. I was like, I can be in Smalls and not have a drink. I mean, it's possible. I did it.
Right.
It's a mission accomplished. But when they're like, hey, come back, on the 18th to DJ, and I'm like, 18th of January, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, son of a.
So you inspired me. You did inspire me because I joined you on that track.
Oh, did you? Fair play.
I did, but I ended up cheating at the end.
Yeah.
Because I was on a ski trip with the family.
Oh.
And it's an annual thing that happens. And I took my bottle of Jameson because it was my bottle. I can take it in with me. I bought a 6-pack of Stella, and drank. Yeah, exactly. I did that like 3 times.
You crack it open, you just stare at it, you go, Stella!
Exactly. That's exactly what I did. But you know what? I cheated, but then I took a couple extra days off in February.
That's it. I will get around to getting a couple days off in February. No, I have. What are we at? We're at the 5th?
Today's the 5th, yeah.
5, 4,
3, 2.
Well, there was one. I got a couple.
That's right.
So I made my one
Super
up.
Bowl happened. Yeah,
I made my one up. So yeah.
But we got thank you for the inspiration. My liver felt better after that. So now it's time to damage it some more.
That is it. All right, I think we're done.
I think so.
Let's put a cork in it.
Yeah, but thanks for listening to us babble.
That could be a thing for the man. That's how we finish. Oh, let's put a cork in it.
Jamie.
Yeah, I'll shut up.
Yeah, you're funny. My friend.
It sounds like we've been drinking.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's how we end it.